Why don't we just wait here for a little while? See what happens.
That desolate theme is enough to like build the suspense, build the paranoia, like play on the like who done it, who is it, like who's next.
Before they bring it back though, they go to the Norwegian camp. They see that it's destroyed.
They knock out Blair, by the way, which is awesome because McCready just goes in over the top with like two right hands, knocks him out.
Now I'll show you what I already know.
Hello and welcome back to the Carpenter Hour, where this time we're going to be talking about The Thing. Came out in 1982. It's going to start off our first week of January, and I'm excited for it, guys. This is one of my personal favorites. I absolutely love this movie, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Chris, what do you got?
Man, I've been waiting to do this episode. I thought about watching this movie back in October for Halloween, but I knew we had this coming up, so I was like, I'll wait. I think it's been 2 or 3 years since I've seen it, and it's incredible. Like you said, this is one of my favorites. We go way back. This is a great film. This John Carpenter masterpiece right here. Nick, what about you, man?
Dude, yeah, we owned this VHS as long as I can remember. We've seen it for as long as I can remember. Yeah, this is, and especially, and we, on Carpenter Hour, as like, when we said we were going to do a segment like this, I staved off all Carpenter films to get ready, knowing that this was going to be on the short list of things to do first, especially given the season now. So I also have been waiting to watch it. And so I watched it last night or 2 nights ago. And then I watched it again today just to make sure that I was in it. Yeah, this movie's awesome, man. This is really high on my horror list and Carpenter list. So I'm excited to break it down.
For sure.
When did you first see this, Derek?
Honestly, man, I want to say, about 8th grade, I think. I'm actually kind of jealous you guys had a VHS of it. I actually didn't check it out until 8th grade. I think I caught it on TV. But man, it sucked me in when I started watching it. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I loved it.
And so, like, by 8th grade, you would definitely, you knew filmmakers and, like, you knew John Carpenter and some of the stuff he'd done, right? Like Halloween and whatnot. So it's interesting to me that it got you that long. What, 8th grade, 14, 15 years old, whatever. Like, it's interesting you were that old before you caught wind of this, being like the film guy you are.
Yeah. I think I was just kind of late on some of those, to be honest. To be fair, I think I got all of it all right around the same time. Like, I started getting into all the Friday the 13th, Saw the Nightmare on Elm Street, started going through all the catalog of horror that, like, stemmed for like the past like 20 years. And so, yeah, I was a little late to it, but man, like, it is great. It is, to me, his best film. Like,
Agreed.
I love it. Like, I watch it every year, whether it's, wintertime like it is now, or if it's, Halloween. I watch it at least once or twice a year. I love it that much. And it's a good film in the sense of, like, it looks great. It has, like, it keeps you guessing, and all the effects are just amazing. I think at the time it wasn't received very well. I think it got like a lot of negative reviews, which is a shame.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, it's like kind of like, par with Carpenter. But
True.
Directed by John, himself. He loved it. Written by Bill Lancaster. I think it's guy that kind of has like a long stint in Hollywood, to be honest. I think he's been somewhere in the behind the scenes for a good portion of Hollywood, and it's like golden years. But so based on a book,
I have in my notes, Bill Lancaster wrote both Bad News Bears treatments. So he wrote the one in the 70s with Walter Matthau, and then he wrote the remake,
the Billy Bob one,
the Billy Bob Thornton one. Yeah, he's the writer for both of them, which is pretty awesome.
That is pretty crazy.
To write for both would be interesting.
Yeah, and so many years apart to be like, yeah, I'll go rewrite that.
Wow. Did he also do like some of those crappier sequels to Walter Matthau's, like They Go to Japan and like In Training or like whatever?
I don't have it in my notes, so that makes me think I he did not.
Okay.
But I won't swear to it. He
Either
probably got
way, he
he,
wrote the two best ones, I think. So
he probably got a credit for it just because it's like characters or something. You know what I mean? Like
sure, yeah.
one of those probably. But I don't think to my knowledge, I don't think he's credited as like the sole screenplay. Yeah, Derek,
Yeah.
you were saying this is based off of the 1938 short story "Who Goes There" by John W. Campbell Jr.
Yep.
So, have you ever seen either of you ever seen the first film adaptation of this?
Yes, I
The
have it.
1951 Howard Hawks
Yes.
film "Thing from Another
From Another
World."
World. It's very similar in like what happens, like, they find an alien ship to kind of bring it up out of the ice, that kind of thing. Alien itself is vastly different. Much more vegetable like, which I don't really know how to explain. And it's kind of lumbering along more kind of like a Frankenstein type creature. Still awesome, like B movie though. Like if you guys ever get the chance, check it out. Check it out. It is awesome. Uh, but I have seen the original, and obviously, I think we both seen the prequel, the like
Yeah.
take
Yes.
place of remake prequel, whatever you guys want to call it. Back from like 2011, which also kind of like fits the bill with like continuity.
I think all three of us went to see it together. I think
Oh.
Yeah, actually, I think you're correct. I'm pretty sure all three of us were there. Might
that
have been
was
a
like,
fourth.
yeah, that was like pre-kids. Like we were all like, had more free time, and I'm pretty sure all of us went to see that together.
Yeah.
Because we were all like, it's the fucking Thing, also called The Thing. But
Yeah.
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 I remember the hype being for it, and it was all right.
Yeah. I think the practical effects definitely kind of got like outshined by all the CG stuff, but like still overall, like I
For
thought
sure.
it like led up to the original pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really cool. In fact, I actually meant to watch it before for this episode, just to kind of like have both pieces of the puzzle, and then I just didn't get around to it or whatever. But I'm gonna have to watch that afterwards.
Yeah. It's not a bad movie, not a bad fit.
When we did Big Trouble in Little China, did John Carpenter scored that film? Did he do the music for Big Trouble?
Yeah, I think we talked about
Is-
him and what
He didn't-
Allworth, I think.
That's
Yeah.
right. He had a buddy with him or whatever, but he did not score this film. Like, right? It was
So yes
the
and
dude's.
no.
It's like an Italian dude or something,
Yeah,
right?
and Ennio Morricone, I think.
Morricone.
Yeah, the guy who did like a lot of spaghetti westerns, a lot of Italian
Yeah,
films.
He got some good scores.
Yeah, he's so good, in fact, that Quentin Tarantino has actually taken a lot of his scores from his movies, including The Thing, and put them in his movies because he
I've
likes
heard
them
of
so
that, yeah.
much. But he does the primary score throughout most of the movie, like all the dramatic parts. But like all the synthy stuff is, for what I am to understand, is John. Like
Right
it's
on.
like he has like some of his own stuff in there. Like the main like synthy theme is like his, but yeah, I think it's not a bad amalgamation of both. Like, because I think the studio was the one who was like, we want like an official kind of like who was a composer, I guess, on
Yeah,
the
we want a real
on the film
composer
instead of
doing
just
this,
you,
know what I
John.
mean? Yeah, right.
Let's split up the duties this time, John.
Yeah, John, you do enough. Time to take a break and stop getting overpaid for what it is, or not paid enough. But
Ennio Morricone has over 250 credits on IMDb, which is nuts.
yeah,
He
Oh,
was
shit.
actually, we talk about his legacy. He was nominated, this movie that he scored, The Thing, was actually nominated for a Razzie, believe it or not. So
Dumb.
people really just fucking hated this movie when it came out. They were like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
an alien and all these strangers and all these men doing? It's fucking stupid. So he wins he was nominated for a Razzie for this. You talk about his relation to Tarantino. They would work together on Hateful Eight, where Morricone has his only Oscar win is for Hateful Eight.
interesting.
And which is a movie is pretty low on my Tarantino list, but maybe I got to rewatch it. I'm sure I'm due for the rewatch, but hey, Western stuff, you know what I mean? So somewhere in there, he finally found his way. Maybe it was more of like maybe like a legacy win, you know what I mean? Where like ah, shit, we nominated him so many times and he hasn't won. Let's give him this one. I mean, I don't know what else came out around the Hateful Eight to say otherwise, but I thought it was interesting that that would be his only win, working with old Tarantino.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a
go on.
go ahead, Derek.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a good score to this film. Like the theme, like that desolate theme or whatever, is like really cool. Nothing really like jumps out at me like this compared to some of his other scores or whatever.
I agree.
But like that desolate theme is enough to like build the suspense, build the paranoia, like play on the like who done it, who is it, like who's next, kind of like theme or whatever. But there's nothing, none of the score in this movie like gets the pace going or like really like hits
Right.
those bars. I think he's done better, but this is a good score for this movie. Um, yeah, I don't know, it works.
Yeah, he has enough of his touch on there just to be like, hey, it's John Carpenter, and like enough for the rest to be
Yeah.
like, hey, it works for the film. So
For sure.
I definitely enjoy it. The budget on this movie was only 15 million, and unfortunately, it only ended up making what 19.6 million in
Yeah,
box
that's
office.
how I read. Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
obviously, it wasn't a sensation. And then like again, par for Carpenter's course, the dude always gets the after later in life. It's a masterpiece. Everybody won't shut up about it now. Like I don't know. I can't talk to anybody who doesn't watch horror movies that don't say like The Thing is in their top 10. At least because of how like well
For sure.
renowned it is and how loved it is. And then the special effects being done by I think his name's Rob Bottin.
Yeah.
You did stellar work for barely having anything to work with. For what I understand,
Wasn't he like 22 or something also? Like he
yeah,
was super
dude
young.
he was hella young,
It's crazy.
but he was able to do as much as he could with like limited amount of stuff. Like a lot of the effects we got to see was like a lot of just basic mechanics and basic like chemicals and like stuff kind of mixed together and thrown together to create the effects, and did a fucking great job.
Yeah.
But you guys kind of mentioned early, like back on, I think it was the Blob episode about like why people didn't like these kind of movies, like the weird spacey B movie kind of like body horror movies. Just like maybe people
Yeah.
just weren't into it. So maybe that's why this movie didn't get the recognition it deserved back then. Like, shit, I would have loved to seen it in theaters back then. I think that would have been cool. But
Oh man, yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's
Well, this
definitely a shame.
movie, it's kind of way. So I think like people weren't into it. It also sounds like maybe there was a bit of just like sci-fi fatigue. So this movie opened, so it would have been right on the heels of Alien, right? Like the master horror
Yeah.
space, horror film. Right on the heels of that a few years earlier. And then this movie opened up the same day as Blade Runner, which is the exact same story of like a sci-fi film that comes out, gets dunked on, and then years later everyone recognizes it for all its
The masterpiece that it
intelligence
is,
and
yeah.
worth and everything. Also, they had to compete against E.T., which is
Nah.
right, like Steven Spielberg's
Yeah,
right.
it's kind of hard to do that,
baby.
yeah.
So it sounds like people just were, one, didn't give a fuck about slimy aliens, and two, uh, stopped giving a shit about body horror and sci-fi and stuff like that. I guess the 80s trend must have just been straight action stuff or something, campy action movies. It's crazy.
80s and like slashers and action, man. I feel like that's all it accumulated to.
See, I'm with Derek on this one. I would have loved to see this in theaters. Like, now I know Halloween was what, 78?
78.
Yeah.
7? So the slasher genre, and I know this was 82, so the slasher genre was at least going at this time. Was it Friday the 13th and stuff already out at this time?
Friday
Do you
the
know?
13th came out like it, yeah, like 1980. So like it was just
So,
such a
like,
boom.
So to me, this would have been like a breath of fresh air, like a dope ass creature feature. Like, I absolutely would have gone and seen this. Not that I don't like slashers, but this would have been a great breath of fresh air. And secondly, what, Derek, you and I did E.T., right?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay, it's
Yeah.
good. But I would take this over E.T. any fucking day of the week, any fucking day of the year. Like, I mean,
Same.
Easily. Yeah.
like but whatever Spielberg's name. Spielberg could shit, and like people would be like, it's a masterpiece. John Carpenter had to like, you know, work the 9 to 5 and then the 5 to 9 to like get his recognition. So
real though, for
you know.
real.
But just like the basic plot of this movie, right? And I think we already said it. Alien crash lands on the Earth, which I'm gonna get to that in a minute here. Crash lands on Earth, gets dug up by some dudes, and it assimilates everyone, and shit goes crazy down in Antarctica. They're in Antarctica.
Yeah,
right?
they're in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Arctic Circle, yeah.
Outpost 31.
Outpost 31, that's right. So like, now I said it'd been like maybe 2 years since I've seen this. I totally forgot about, you see the spaceship, like right after the Universal logo, like the spaceship like whizzes, right, and crashes on Earth or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like watching this and I was like, I totally forgot about this little part right here. So just that little scene is like 100,000 years before the movie takes place.
I'm assuming
If
so
you're-
by that dude's
Yeah.
calculations, but I have questions
Like, I
about
was
that
like,
too, about his calculations, because I think at the point that he's talking, I think he might have already been assimilated. So I'm wondering like how much he's really, like how much is really accurate to truth. So,
Okay,
but
because yeah, I agree, because he had to be assimilated at that point, right?
I believe so.
We might be getting ahead of ourselves here.
But
diving
the
into this.
UFO, like, kind of like, opens up with space, kind of opens up, basic sci-fi movie, it gets some letters, get some fonts, and then all of a sudden the spaceship comes like whirling through space and you see it crash. Kind of like Predator did like some years later, like what, 88, where it like opens up with it crash landing on Earth. And then we get the title card where it like burns up and everything else, which is like really cool.
Yeah.
It's almost an exact copy of the original, actually, the same font of the thing and everything. It just doesn't have, from another world. So when I saw that, I thought that was like, oh, that's awesome. Like an exact copy of like the original title card. But so it opens up with a helicopter in the distance is kind of flying around the tundra, and it's chasing an animal, a dog. And as it is chasing the animal, it's taking shots at it. And of course, like everybody watching this opening for the first time is like, why are they shooting at a dog? Why are they chasing a dog? Then it skips to the people at a outpost site for the Americans. What are they exactly? Are they archaeologists, or does it ever really say?
I have that broken down actually by character. I was like, we're gonna make sure we
Awesome.
get this right.
Good, because I remember what the Norwegians were doing, but I don't remember what they were doing. Okay, so you want to take us through that?
Yeah. So
Yeah, give us a quick 411 here.
yeah. So the Norwegians chasing the Husky take us right to the National Science Institute Station number 4, also called Outpost 31. Now, okay.
Yeah, it weirded me out too.
Where'd the other numbers go? So out of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about looks like 12 people or so. I won't go through all of them, or till we get there. Some of the bigger names, right? Obviously, we have our star. We have Kurt Russell playing R.J. McCready. He is the pilot. Pretty obvious. Right. Unknown at the time, but now known to the diabetes community, is Wilford Brimley, who plays Blair. He's the diabetes guy.
Yep.
He plays Blair. He is the senior biologist.
Wait, pause real fast. What do you mean the diabetes guy?
The diabetes commercials.
The diabetes commercial where Blair with the stash and mustached Blair is it's like memed or famous or whatever, where he's like diabetes.
Yeah.
That's like
okay.
To be honest, this is like one or two other films only where he's never had the mustache. So
always had the mustache.
He's always had the mustache.
Okay.
But yeah, he just he was like an infomercial dude talking about diabetes.
Yeah.
An actor for it. So
yeah. So he's famous for that. Look it up. We have Keith David in his first film credit. He plays Childs. He is the chief mechanic.
Oh wow.
Maybe I am going to go through all this. So we have Knowles, who is the gentleman on roller skates. He's the cook. Also pretty obvious. Played by T.K. Carter. David Clennon plays our favorite stoner, Palmer. He is the assistant mechanic. Richard Dysart is Dr. Copper. Dr. Copper, by the way, got the nose ring. So hip Dr. Copper.
Oh,
He's
hell
the
yeah, dude.
physician. He's a physician. Charles Hallahan is Norris. We've seen him in some stuff, Dante's Peak and some other stuff. He's a geologist. They got a team for they got something for everybody here.
Okay.
We have Bennings, who is the meteorologist. We have Clark, who's the dog handler. We have, or maybe like kennel master or something. Gary is they call him captain. I guess he's like station commander. We have Fuchs, who's the assistant biologist, and then we have Windows, who is the radio operator. So this motley crew becomes the only faces we see in this movie.
Yeah.
As shit starts to go down in the Arctic Circle here. Falling back on the opening real quick. The spaceship thing. This is like becoming a John Carpenter thing, where the spaceship intro, like you could have just had the title card and then taken us right into the movie. So he shows the spaceship thing, which isn't really needed. Much like the campfire story in The Fog, and Egg talking to the lawyer thing in Big Trouble. Because I pointed it out on both of these, where I was like, "Yo, what is it with Carpenter adding intros that doesn't fucking come full circle, or like anybody gives a fuck?" It just keeps happening. It just keeps happening.
Yeah, I could see that.
You didn't need it. You know what I mean? We could have found the ship through the video footage and all, whatever. Could have done that later. Whatever. That's just me bitching.
That would have been way better almost.
The Americans are drawn out of their, leisure due to the gunfire, and the oncoming helicopter starts circling the camp trying to smurf this wolf pup. And then the Norwegians very poorly land and like kind of try to explain. I could have made fucking better hand animations that explained better the scenario of what they're trying to do.
Fucking blew themselves up, right? Blew up himself in the chopper.
So
with
they had
like literally goes behind him.
They had a case of grenades, which actually ties into the prequel, but they bring it along and they're dropping them like mortar strikes as they're chasing this dog around. They land. The Norwegian known as Lars hops out with the rifle and starts chasing after the dog, shooting after it, because the dude who was, I guess, had the grenade, like went to throw it, like threw it behind him, dropped it, and then he's like fumbling through the snow, blows up him and blows up the helicopter. And Lars is just like, well, I got to get this dog, and just, pursues on, shooting openly at everything that was moving. And of course, he's speaking Norwegian, so nobody understands what the fuck this dude's saying. And then so everybody's hitting the deck. I can't remember. Is it Bennings who gets like clipped? Yeah. I think in the leg by a rogue bullet, a straight bullet or whatever, because the dog like jumped on him.
Barely scratched him. Yeah, 4 stitches.
Dude, 4 stitches. You're fine. He's like, I was shot today. Do you mind turning off that noise?
Yeah, that's right. I was shot.
So. I guess everybody's like kind of taking cover or whatever. And this is when the Norwegian just kind of rounds the corner. And this is where, Mr. El Capitano gets to, shoot off his pop gun or whatever that Palmer says. Dude,
he like breaks out the window to like get that shot. And then one shots the dude
through the face.
Right through the eye. Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, with a little like revolver thing. I was like, how do you aim better than the rifle? Like, we're Americans. We just use autos and full autos.
Well, I mean, he just
dump mags,
He got it. He was focused on the dog. He just got the drop on the guy and just pop. That was it.
Go Gary. That's why he's captain.
Okay, so while we're here, so the dog runs into the camp. Who does he run up to and start?
Bennings.
Is it Bennings?
Yeah, that's how he got shot or clipped or whatever.
Okay. So that's not where Bennings gets infected. Obviously, Bennings gets it from
Bennings gets it later.
Corpse.
Yeah. Bennings gets it later. Like, this is after they've already discovered the creature and all that.
There's two things to start with. There's the one we haven't seen yet. It's off screen, the split face, and then the dog.
Right.
And so it'll, and I'm sure we'll run through the who got who, when, and by who theories or whatever. But yeah, so this is the dog is thing one. Does not infect Bennings.
Split face is at the Norwegian camp still, right? Because they bring it back.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, they somehow get it back, and I'm gonna I had a question about
stupidly
that.
bring it back.
First off, a lot of the handling of the specimens is very piss
Poor.
poor, and I don't understand why it is, because they half the time they still know what's going on, and they're still just like, oh, look at it, and they're like poking at it, so whatever. So they killed a Norwegian. They kind of get their like bearings and try to figure out what the fuck happened, and they kind of start going through the debris of like the helicopter. They start going through like the Norwegians. They're like, oh, what's going on? They're like, oh, they're from the Norwegian camp, so and so miles away. And so that's when they decide that, or Doc more or less wants to go check on them, because he's afraid that like if these guys are doing what they're doing, God knows what they did to their camp. So he wants to go help. So they call up McCready to fly them out, and he just is not really annoyed, but he is kind of he's kind of like he doesn't want to. He's just like burdened that he has to. He's
They definitely volunteer him for him.
Yeah,
like
he's
they're
like, "Oh,
definitely like,
McCready, get your gear on." Yeah.
yeah.
And then he's just
Oh,
like,
well,
"Oh,
it's a
cool."
short trip, hour there, hour back.
Yeah.
Right
2
before the
hours
storm
of
comes.
flying. Yeah. And he's just like, "Oh, we're taking a chance." Those Swedes. He gets like
Yeah, he's
super
like
bitter
those
about
crazy
it.
Swedes.
But
Jesus, Mac, they're Norwegian.
yeah, yeah. So and then I think that's when they go to the Norwegian camp and they find like the split face thing. But
Right.
so they patch up Bennings at the same time that they go make the trip, and I think they bring the dog in. The dog's just kind of all over the fucking place, and then
He
I
just
think,
moseys around the camp all
Just
day,
let him
according
roam.
to Clark.
and then eventually Bennings tells Clark to put the dog up. Later,
Yeah, he's like
right?
pissed
It's
off
like,
about it.
yeah, because it's like
Bennings is
bumping into him,
milking his bullet wound all fucking day, by the way.
dude.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's like playing poker and he's a pissed off dad with nothing going on. It's a completely calm scene. He's just like, gee, put this fucking dog up.
Yeah,
And Clark is weird the
Well-
whole movie, by the way. The whole movie,
He
Clark's
is.
like, yeah, okay. So what do you, so what? What are you
he's
looking
kind
at
of
me
like
like that?
he's kind of like a weird,
Fucking
like,
weird.
yeah, he's like a weird, like, red herring, and the love that he has for the animals over people is just kind of like another, like, man, you're just an oddball, like.
Yeah.
But so they make it.
Also, at this point, we got to note that we've seen the dog walking around. He goes into a room where we see the silhouette or the shadow, right? We definitely that definitely
Somebody
happens.
turned around,
right?
yeah.
So if we're, as we find out, the dog is a thing, right? We got to assume this person, and I think I know or have an idea who it is the first one to be assimilated or like become another thing.
Thereabouts, yeah. It's either that person or somebody we didn't see that we didn't know, like out of rotation or whatever the case. But this dude, firsthand to our knowledge, yes, is the first to be, tentacled.
Right.
But
Because that McCready and him, I think, come back, right?
they go to
They come back because everyone helps bring the split face in.
Yeah, and
It's
then
like a team effort.
That's kind of when they make their assumptions about like what happened over there and like what the specimen is. But so first they go over there, and then this is when I think it's just Doc and Mac, and they do the whole
They're cutting it open
notion.
and shit.
They what? Yeah, before they bring it back though, they go to the Norwegian camp. They see that it's destroyed.
It's crazy.
They see that it's like half burnt, half destroyed. They start seeing signs of like a lot of violence and chaos. Like they find an axe chilling in the wall. Half the building's burned down. They find the frozen dead dude with like his wrist split open and like frozen.
His like throat was like split open too, dude.
Yeah, and so they go through the camp and then they come across the ice block, where you assume this is probably where this thing came from. And later on, it is confirmed that is the case. But they come across the block. They're kind of in like wonderment. And then it's on their way out. They're like kind of talking to each other like, man, what happened? Like, I don't know. And then that's when they see the smoldering split face thing. And then that's when like, what's over there? And then they go over there and Blair's like, what is that? Is there some kind of man in there? Like he can't even tell. There's features, but he's like, what is that thing? And I don't know why McCready was okay with it, but they bag this sucker up and they put it on the helicopter and they come back with it. And then that's when like Doc's like, oh, it's got a perfect set of organs and it's a perfect imitation. And starts going through kind of those notions. But
Did you guys notice? So they go to that site with 3 people. I think it's Norris, Copper, and
Palmer?
and McCready.
McCready.
Oh,
Yeah.
3 people. And 1 copter. And then they're like, hey, let's take this thing back. Now, we don't see them load it, like, physically, but it takes the whole camp to unload it, which makes me wonder how the fuck they get it on there.
well, I think what you're talking about happens later. Happens, I think, after. It either happens after the dogs or just before the real pop off, because that's when they get when they go to the Norwegian base, they take all the videotapes back and then they watch it. And that's when they found out that they dug this thing up a few miles from their camp, from the Norwegian camp. And then that's also where they go and they find the spaceship.
Yeah, but they bring the alien back, the split face, on the first trip.
Yeah, they bring it back on the first trip, but when the first trip goes, it's just McCready and Doc. I don't think Norris was with them then. He only went with them
Okay,
on
does
the
Norris-
trip to
Either way,
No,
they're
Darren's right, I think.
they're undermanned to lift this thing onto the helicopter.
also-
That I also like. They're like, Blair can't even breathe around this thing. He's like, oh Jesus, diabetic fuck. Like can't even like get lungs, like air in his lungs.
Yeah.
When they've got it back at the place, and then like, you're telling me that these guys had this thing in the helicopter with them, just fumigating the whole fucking cockpit,
Smoldering
and
the
an
whole
hour-long
time?
trip, by the way.
Smoldering. It's still
Smoldering.
smoking when they unzip it at the other base. Like it's
Like,
stupid.
you would have needed the sled dogs to like mush this thing out. There's no way that these bastards just like, okay, throw his ass in the
Okay.
copter and we'll
and
we'll get outta
also,
here.
not to mention like the amount of resources wasted on going out to all the to the Norwegian base and back, and going out to the UFO and back. It's like, you guys are wasting all this instead of escaping with this stuff. So like, I hope you don't need too much of it.
Yeah, so Blair, they bring it back, they autopsy it. Blair finds out that it's, or seemingly, normal set of human organs and stuff. So he's like, man, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And this more or less takes us right into the action.
Yeah.
We're about 30 minutes in at this point, and Clark finally decides to take the mutt back to the other dogs. Take the alien. The alien wastes no time. So Clark shuts it. There's horrible lighting back there, which also pisses me off. There's horrible lighting. Like, I'm just turn on the fucking light.
Yeah.
He leaves it in there, and it's alone for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
For real.
Thereabouts.
Also, why do you think the alien chose this time to finally come out? Because it had to know, or maybe it didn't. It would have had to know it would meet resistance from the other dogs, thus alarming or alerting the rest of the people on the base. Was there not like a better so there's a line of dialogue after this where Blair's like, hey, how long were you alone with the dog? And Clark's like, I don't know, hour and a half. So is that like hyperbole for something? Because if he was alone for that long, wouldn't that have been a better time for the alien to make its move, and not in a kennel full of other dogs?
Right.
While I agree with you on that one, remember, there is a human assimilated at this point, like the shadow, while we were the dog. So now I know it seems like even when it's in a room with another one, it's got to know, right? Because it's kind of like a hive mind, right? So it's aware of its other presence, I think, but also enough to be like, if they go after this one, I got to know not to like defend it, otherwise I'm fucked too. You know what I mean?
Well, then,
so if there's a human, if it's now got a human one also, dog goes into the kennel, and while I agree, why would you go after a bunch of fucking noisy dogs?
well,
Maybe it's like, well, there's another one out there. If I get caught, whatever.
I think
then if there was another one, why show its hand at all? If that was the thought, why would it not be like, hey, time to lay low, hang out with the dogs, eat this shitty dog food, and then attack Clark when I get the chance?
I think I think the creature itself just kind of calculated the risk in the sense of like, I'm alone with these things. Nothing else is going to watch me. Nothing's seeing me. I can
lights are
make
off.
more copies of me, which will give me more of a greater chance of survival. So I'm going to assimilate these fucking dogs really quick. not knowing that it probably would be so risky and still bring those assholes coming. But it takes a minute. He assimilates fucking like 2 or 3 of them pretty easy before like McCready hears this shit and he busts his beer on the alarm to, alert everybody to know what's going on.
Is that what
So
he did? He busted is that the glass that breaks? I thought the
it's
fire
like a
alarm
little,
was in a glass and like entrapment, and he busts that out. But I guess that makes more sense if he's like busting his J&B bottles and shit around there to
yeah, he has like a beer
get that
can
alarm
or
going.
beer or something like that, and like fucking mashes it with it, and then he pulls it down. But I think it's definitely one of those. It kind of like, why did he do it? But then again, it's like, oh, if it's gonna like try to survive, it's trying to spread itself as much as it can. I guess this would be the easiest way to do
Sure.
it. Instead of doing each person piece by piece, might be a little harder. But having said that, it also gives us one of the greatest scenes I like in like horror movie history in general. Because
Fucked
like
up crazy creature
you
monster,
don't
dude. Whoa.
you see it, you see the lights go out, and the dogs are all kind of like sitting there, kind of chill at first, and then like the like dude leaves, and it's kind of quiet, and then you hear the thing start fucking breathing, and it's not normal. It sounds like very like monstrous, and that's when the dogs like start reacting to it, and they're like, "Oh, what the fuck is this thing?" And so they start like barking, start acting out, start like kind of like getting defensive, and that's when the thing like goes crazy. Its face splits open, its head falls off, and it's just tentacles spewing from it, and then it goes after the dogs. And it isn't until, like we said earlier, where Kurt Russell like mashes his beer in on the thing to get the alarm off. When he hears them going off, that's when all of them show up because, I think Clark finds them first, right? Like Clark
Yeah.
Clark
But
Yeah, but he
hears,
doesn't.
McCready
Yeah,
only
He
wherever he
doesn't
checks
really
them
like.
out.
Yeah. He just hears dogs and immediately goes for the alarm. Like he doesn't. It
Okay.
could have been something super minor, and dude blew the whole fire alarm system on it. And then
I
he's
mean,
like,
yeah, because
"Child, get
literally
the flamethrower."
Yeah.
everyone's like in their like jammies and shit. Like I think Palmer and Child's like in their room watching like Wheel of Fortune, getting high or something like that.
Actually, I think one of
And
them
then
like
they're all like,
bare
"What
ass
the
naked.
fuck is going on? Is this a drill? What is happening here?" And then when Creedy and them finally get to like that, because it's at like the end of
To
kind
the
of like a
kennel,
hallway or
yeah.
whatever, they get to start and they're like, "What's going on, Clark?" And he's like, "I don't know, something's in there," and it's pissed off. Motherfucker, you didn't have a flashlight or like some other like I don't know, what do they call it? Like a fog light or something like that in places,
Could have had
you
any.
know, whatever, when they go anything. You couldn't fucking light a match, you know? Like, dude, you had no idea what was going on. And
No.
you're right, Kurt Russell just like pulled the alarm. And then they got to go back there and be like, "What the fuck?"
I think when Clark went in there to check it out, I think the creature knocked out the light, which is why they didn't have a light. But that's when the tentacles start coming out. He like kicks the door and it like squishes the tentacles, and that's when he locked it back in.
Ugh.
And then they catch up to him, and he's like, "Yeah, something weird and pissed off in there. I don't know what it is." So they go in, and then that's when everybody kind of like, "What's going on? What's happening?"
Two dogs escape, right?
I think two
Like,
dogs escape, and then they run in, and that's when they all start whipping out their flashlights. And that's when you see this grotesque ass thing. Just, I think it has one dog like almost melted, and it's like pulling it in to absorb it. The other one was like wrapped up in tentacles around the neck, getting ready to be next. And they see this thing, and it's just grotesque. He's got giant like tentacles coming out from the bottom of it. It's got like a weird shape of like a head dog. It's roaring while it's like looking at him and stuff. It's hard to explain. Like it's almost unspeakable of like
It
how
is.
to describe it. Like, and they're all in awe. They're all like, what the fuck? They don't know what to do. Nobody does anything. And then does McCready just randomly start like shooting? Like,
I think he starts pumping shells into it. And then because he tells, because
him and Gary
he's like,
both.
Bennings tells Childs, he's like, "McCready wants a
Okay.
flamethrower."
He
And
wants
he's
to
like,
what?
"What?" He's like, "Do it now. Come on," or whatever. And then so Childs is running. He's like the fucking last one to show up, and he's got a flamethrower. And then they torch.
yeah.
So the thing fucking like splits, and like these two fucking arms like come out, grab the ceiling, pull
Grab the
itself
rafters, yeah.
up. I think he's already started flamethrowing it, but he doesn't flamethrow it very long before the others like rush in and put it out.
Yeah, which is
And so
which is kind of a common thing that happens a few times in there. They're like, "We got to put it
Yeah.
out. It's going to burn the place up." I'm like, "Let it burn." Like,
Yeah.
Who
I'm
cares
like,
if it
dude.
burns this room? Like, just close
Right.
this place off. Like,
So then two things. One, the 2 dogs that escaped, one of them is assimilated? Is one of them a thing?
No.
no.
No, because Blair kills both of them, right?
Blair
Both
kills
dogs.
both of them later, and
Right.
I think they take blood from them, and that's when Blair asks, like, Clark, how long were you with the dog? Is when they're taking the blood of those 2
That's right.
dogs.
Okay.
Um,
So the second thing, when the thing, they're torching it, he grabs the arms, pulls itself up to the rafters. Does that get away? Is that one that?
it's trying to get away, and
Yeah.
But they kill that and the thing. Like the thing, there's not 2 separate things at this point, right?
no,
Like it's just
no.
went up the rafters, they torch it,
It's
it
just
falls
one
down.
mass.
Okay.
It was in the middle of assimilating all the dogs and kind of reproducing all of them, or whatever that is that they're doing, replicating,
Assimilating them,
I guess.
whatever.
Replicating, yeah. And it's just a giant mass. So when they came in and started shooting it, the thing was trying to retreat to for defense. So that's when its
Right.
arms comes up, grabs the ceiling, pulls itself up, but its big ass can't go anywhere. And then when Charles goes in to get it, that it like opens up even more, and like that weird like hand thing comes out with
comes
teeth.
at him. You're right.
And that's when he torches it. And again, not for very long. And then they come and like put it out with the things. And then again, they're like, yeah, this ain't no dog. It's an imitation. And they're again poking at it just like freely. But
Yeah, Blair's doing the autopsy, and he's got the pencil with like a little eraser on it.
eraser head,
And he's
yeah.
dead ass just like poking this thing around, and then he's like, like what like it's damn near touching his face, and it's like, hey
Yeah.
man, get that gross science shit away from there. You should know better.
Like
you wore gloves
he's-
during all that, but come on.
He's sitting there going like elbows deep into like the crevice of one, pulling like
Dude,
assimilated
like
dogs out. And
her.
this has got gloves on. I'm like, bro, where's your suit? Like, where's your hazmat suit? This is ridiculous. But yeah, so they kind of find out that the creature that they've stumbled across is an alien life form that assimilates and replicates itself in a manner of either by defense or, by just, natural, behavior. And so I don't know exactly what their end game is. I think they're just like, oh, we got the find of the century. Like they just kind of like think about like, I guess just storing the things. Which is to me like I would have been like, no, burn them, fucking burn them. We can study them later. We'll study the ashes, burn it all. Like,
right. They start putting all the specimens in the storage room, and Bennings tells, I think it's Windows, he's like, this is find of the century. Someone could win a Nobel Prize or like whatever he says.
yeah.
And then because Windows apparently the whole time hasn't been able to reach anyone on the comms, which I heard it for those stationed in Antarctica, like that wouldn't be the case. Like if you go 2 weeks without communication, they fucking send a rescue team after you. Like
I wondered that too.
So then getting to the point where Blair, after he does the little computer simulation, right? And it's
He
like,
does the calculation.
yeah. If it gets out and it's like 127,000 hours or whatever the fuck Earth will be taking over, whatever it says, he starts destroying the shit. To me at this point, because I think, is this right before they put the shit in the storage, or is it right after?
So I think it's right around the time they put the stuff in the storage that
Blair starts destroying shit.
Blair pops off because what's his face? Fuchs is like, hey, can I talk to you? Because they're all like, because I think this is right after they fried the dogs and the dogs things happen. That's when they go back to the UFO. So they fly out to the UFO. They get the reading on like how old it is.
That's right. 'Cause that's when Norris
like,
is
metal
with them.
materials that they bring back, all like the scientific stuff they kind of like bring back and start kind
The
of going
data.
through. All the
Right.
data, yeah, right. And that's when Blair starts making his calculations and starts going through the simulation of like what would happen if it got out, if it may hit like a massive population.
Yeah.
And it's like right after they're doing that, I think that's when Fuchs wants to talk to McCready about it, and that's when they had their talk in the helicopter. Or
He tells him that the split face wasn't dead.
yeah, he basically
Like it was
he's
still
reading
alive.
Blair's notes, and in Blair's notes they say like the cells are not dead. And then hearing that, McCready's like, okay, go get the doc. We'll see what we need to do next. But they don't get very far because I think that's when Blair pops off and starts attacking the radio room and windows.
Yeah,
So
Blair's
Blair's human still at this point.
yeah, his paranoia is like next level at this point. So the simulation said that civilization will be wiped out in estimated 27,000 hours, which is 1,125 days, which is about 3 years and 1 month is what it would take to take out everybody, which
All
is crazy.
Earth.
So
Crazy.
Blair goes apeshit and starts sabotaging the things at the base. So he's in Windows's room, the radio room, and apparently has like worked over poor Windows there. He's like bleeding and then like passes
Yeah,
out.
like cranked him on the head or something. Pistol
Like
whipped him.
just got worked.
Yeah.
So yeah, he sabotages the
Helicopter
snowplow,
and snow counts.
the
Yeah.
helicopter and snowplow. And I'm gonna talk about the snowplow in a second because they must have more than one. Kills the remaining sled dogs, destroys the radio to prevent escape. Then so then Copper is like, I think I can do a blood test. So they knock out Blair, by the way, which is awesome because McCready just goes in over the top with like two right hands, knocks him out.
Yeah.
Like UFC style KOs.
Dude,
Yeah.
you even hear like 2 or 3 like Rocky punches.
Dude,
it's like
Yeah,
as he's like laying it on him. I was like, what the fuck is happening, dude?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they like
yeah, then they throw Blair in his own shed. And so some of these guys have their own like sheds or whatever. So like McCready has
Shacks,
one.
yeah.
Blair's got his own. I don't know how they
well,
divvy up.
Blair was just in a tool shed.
I think Blair was just in a tool shed.
Oh,
Blair had
okay,
an office,
okay.
but
You're right.
he got vacated.
You did, yeah,
but-
right.
But yeah, he was tossed outside.
So also at this point though, isn't it like right on cue when Fuchs is like, the thing is still alive or like whatever. At this point, I told you Bennings and Windows were having that like Nobel Prize, whatever. And Windows is like, hey, I got to go get something or whatever.
You got to get the keys from Gary.
I gotta go get the
And then-
keys from Gary.
That's right. So before he leaves, you kind of see the thing shuffle or whatever under the blanket or whatever it's under.
Yeah.
And then Windows leaves. And then him and Fuchs, McCready and Fuchs have that conversation. They come in, and that's when Bennings is like in the corner, all like, because he's getting thingified, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question about this too. So they find out it's discovered that the thing rips your clothing in the assimilation process.
Rips through your clothing, yeah.
Yes.
So when they go in and they look at Bennings, his like vest and like, he's obviously shirtless. That shit's like thrown on a chair. Bennings is pulled into a chair, getting like thinged.
Yeah.
So does the thing like rip your shirt off and then like throw it over there? And like, I didn't like that his clothes aren't found in tatters on him, which is weird. And also, if it rips through your clothes when it assimilates you, why? How do we never see like a naked man walking around? Like, they always happen to be by their own clothes.
Yeah.
Like,
That is
so
kinda weird.
think about it taking over Blair in the end, like towards the end. Think about it
Even
taking over
Norris.
Palmer. We don't find, and I know there's like a
Well-
pair of long johns that are found, but like it's very, very minimal, and like the clothing thing doesn't really make sense.
Same with Norris. Norris is in the same fucking
Well,
attire the whole
okay.
movie.
And on that same note, so in the prequel, when you see somebody get assimilated or the aftermath of it, there's always like a fuck ton of blood, right? And then
Yeah.
eventually it gets magically cleaned up. Again, it's like the same thing in this. Like where's all the blood? Like Bennings, there's like blood and slime, but there's not like, oh, the whole room's painted. Like it isn't like a fuck ton of it is like getting murdered. So like when people get assimilated, you don't fucking know. It's like, except for the dogs and Bennings, like there's not really a way to tell like if like the aftermath or something, because like Benny takes off running almost completed, not exactly fully done, except for a few
Yeah.
moves.
Yeah, real fast. They walk in on him. He's getting assimilated in that room. He's like shirtless, whatever.
Windows sees it and
Ooh.
fucking freaks. Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Because then he leaves.
he runs
and comes
into
back.
McCready and them, and he's like,
It looks like
"Bennings!"
nothing's fucking happened. But there's like the smallest window in the room is like
Yeah.
broken out.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yep.
it's Bennings. But then when they go out and Benning's in the snow, doesn't he have his clothes? Doesn't he have clothes on?
Yeah, he's
He has,
covered.
He's not
he has a
shirtless and shit.
parka. Yeah, he has a parka on. I think that's it.
The
Like
thing
maybe
was like,
some
I'm gonna
pants.
need this out there.
Dude, like, yeah, because it's cold. Yeah, I bet.
Right. So like, where the fuck do you get the parka?
Okay.
Also, so that split face thing was obviously fucking huge, right? It's like basically two bodies. It assimilates
Yeah.
Bennings. Like, does this thing not gain mass with all these people that it's
Okay.
like?
So I'm glad. Okay, I didn't have that thought, but so the thing is on the table. It apparently grabs Benning, pulls him over. So does that mean if it had finished, would there be a thing on the table and then be a Bennings thing, or does the split face absorb Bennings, and so there's only a Bennings things walking around? Like if it had succeeded in the kennel, and the dog thing grabs even three dogs, does it pull them in, and so all the thing and three dogs become one dog, or does it make copies and shit out three thing dogs with its thing self? Does that make sense? How does the split copy? It's not like it's a copy machine where, like, if I pull in Derek, I then I then like shit out a Derek thing and a me thing,
Yeah.
or me and you, Chris, and we would be a super twin. Right? It'd probably just be my
Derek, you're not
features.
in on this.
It'd probably just be my features and shit, though. So how does that work?
Well, like, so they McCready has a theory somewhat to a degree of like every single cell of the thing is its own individual being, and it's not
Right.
so much like a hive mind, but each individual cell has the same mindset where they're all just talk about assimilating and surviving. So as to your question, like, I think if it wanted to, it could split, like, hey, there's half a thing over there, and then we have Bennings assimilated, or it just all assimilated Bennings and then just kind of morphed around him and just became that. But
That was my impression.
it was
like
either
the split face thing and Bennings became one, and then broke out the window. He's outside. They catch up to him, and he's got thing arms, and he's like, or whatever.
unless the
And
alien
then they
body,
fucking
yeah, unless the alien body somehow gets so like fucked up that like it can't like it's like dead or something, like half the body's burned, then it may not be able to replicate or use any portion of that meticulous body part or body. So while I don't exactly know the full biology of the alien, I feel like it could just copy if it really wanted to. But I think if anything, it's just kind of like becomes something new. It's like a new mold every time. Just assimilates it. I guess spits it out, or I don't know exactly what.
Well, think about. Let's go back to the first thing we talked about with the dog walking in that room, and we see the shadow of whoever the fuck, right? Which I think it's Norris. I think Norris is the first one to go. It's gotta be Norris.
I think Norris is the first one to go.
Norris is the first one to go, and obviously the first one we see get all fucked up because Palmer has yet to reveal himself. So that means I think Palmer was infected when they're watching the shit with Norris go down. And then he's like, so anyways, the dog walks in that room. Whoever's in that room with the shadow, that dog comes back out, and it's still a thing. So how did it? So like, kind of what we were talking about. It had to infect and. I don't know. I mean, I guess it couldn't copy Norris but it had to infect him.
But
somehow.
it could split a part of it off, and I think even
maybe.
I don't know if it's Blair that says it in his notes or if it's Fuchs or somebody else, but they say like it only takes one little thing to completely take you over. So I don't like Blair's over here like, sucking on the end of a fucking eraser that he's sitting there poking at the thing with, and maybe that's how he got infected. I don't know, but it's like if one little thing can take you over, then these guys probably should have been taken over really easily. But
even Palmer shares that joint with Childs.
So
at
Palmer
that
can't
point,
be infected at that point,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
By the logic Derek said, Palmer can't be infected at that point.
Exactly. So at that point, so by the time Bennings died, Bennings dies, Norris, we're about to come up on Norris's bullshit because he's about to have a heart attack or like whatever the fuck. Uh,
I'm gonna bitch
we've
about
already
that
found
in
the
a
long.
second.
Well, I think
We've
I
already.
think we got to get the Fuchs and stuff first, but
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, we're gonna come upon a long john, like the missing someone's long john somewhere in the trash. You know, how dare they put him in Null's kitchen trash, motherfuckers.
I want my kitchen
And
clean. All right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm free.
right. So they torch Bennings. Is this when they first decide the blood test?
This is
Do they
more
play
or
the
less
bling
where they
game here?
decide like, hey, we need to do something like we got to do something to stop this because if not, it's gonna get out of hand. And this is where like, Doc, do you have an idea something we could do? And he was like, I think we do a blood test.
Yeah.
And so that's where they
Copper
kind of go
suggests
through
the
the
blood
motions.
test.
Yeah, so Copper mentions the blood test, and that's kind of the
Right.
steps they take from there. They don't get
Now,
very
they go.
far though because the blood for the test gets sabotaged. I think
It's like they show this right after they say it.
Right.
So this had to have happened super fast.
Super
And I was
soon,
going to
yeah.
ask you. So I want to know your guys' theory on the blood bag stuff. Like
who did the
did
blood
someone-
bag?
did someone get in? Does the thing even need a key, or can you just fucking slither between like the rubber seal and like
Nah.
slice all that shit up, or
So-
like?
For the practicality of the movie, no. Actually, in the short story, though, that's how he enters some rooms. Is he's able to shapeshift and go underneath the cracks of the door and like come back and like, I guess, rearticulate itself into like, whatever being it needs to be.
Weird.
But I like because they even asked like if the lock was damaged. He goes, no, the lock's not damaged. It wasn't broken. So someone had to have keys. If someone lifted it off of, Gary or whatever, then maybe, but the dude has the keys on him right there at that moment when they're talking about it. And he doesn't remember giving them to anybody.
So this scene doesn't make sense either. The whole crew is deducing, right? Like who has the keys on them who maintains the keys? And it's like it's Gary, because Gary's in charge. He's like, I only give them out to Copper when he needs it. And Copper's like, I haven't needed them in a day or two, and I always return them. Dude, like 2 scenes earlier, Windows gets the keys from Gary because when Windows goes in and sees Bennings, he drops them. So
Yeah, he does.
one, why doesn't Gary remember giving the keys to Windows? Like nobody's ever like, Windows, where were you? When they could have, because he had them at some point.
Yeah.
So somebody picked up the keys from the ground from Windows at some point, but then also Gary gets them back because they're not missing at that time. So
No.
Gary somehow gets the keys back, but doesn't also remember giving them to Windows.
But
there's no implication for Windows being infected. Like it's never pointed that way.
right. But it's
Yeah,
also
he's definitely human.
so the keys land on the ground when Bennings gets it, he takes off running. If someone was to come up and pick up the keys, it still wouldn't make no sense for that person to hold on to the keys because they didn't even come up with the test yet.
Yeah.
So there'd be no risk for having to use them.
This whole scene is super weird.
I thought it happened too fast. Like there was no breathing room between the idea of it and then literally they go inside and the blood's already sliced.
Yeah.
Because weren't they all outside? Obviously Blair was locked up, but weren't they all outside? Because they're building a snow pile and like torching the shit, right?
Yeah, they're
all
Blair.
fucking out.
Yeah,
Everybody
they're
but Blair is
burning.
outside.
And then they all go inside and the blood's torn and then they have this pissing contest on like, well, the key and like whatever. And like, yeah, I was definitely like, this scene seems like we're missing some material in between or something like that.
Yeah.
This scene was set up too ominously, I think.
And it's here after they start hurling accusations at each other that they start to like basically break down as a group. Like they start hurling accusations at each other. Like obviously Gary and Copper are kind of like, he's like, well, I only give the key to Copper and Copper only needs it when he needs it. And he's just like, hey man, like I've seen you in here many times. You have the keys, like you can do whatever. And then Windows like kind of like starts to snap, kind of like break down. And so like he takes off running and breaks
right.
into the gun cabinet trying to arm himself because he's starting to go that paranoid. He can't trust anybody. And, obviously you have a lot of animosity between some certain groups like Childs and Clark for some reason have like beef. Like every time they like get in front of each other, like, oh, I'm going to kick your ass. Like they get so mad at each other for no reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because like one's a dog lover and one's not, but it's just weird.
He's a cat guy.
Yeah, he's a cat dude for sure. But so this is where like they all rush to windows, and like Gary right off the bat pulls out a gun and is just like, "I will put this through your head. Put the gun down." Like, so Windows complies or whatever, and then even Gary's like, he kind of like backs up and he's like, "I did not touch the blood. I'm innocent." And then I think he like gives up
He
his
relinquishes his
duties.
duty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he
just like,
kind of like forfeits leadership
yeah,
at that point.
Like McCready takes his gun, and even Clark, who's got like a fucking like knife out
a pocket
at that
knife.
time, he folds the knife and then gives it to McCready as well. And I was like, why would you give him the knife? Like, if that's your knife, just fucking don't whip it out like first chance you get. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because Clark is pretty quick to just
Well,
like anyone looks at him wrong, especially
I
Childs.
guess
and he's just
Childs,
like,
yeah, because Childs makes a play for the gun, and that's when Clark steps in. "The hell you will, like
yeah, that's right.
take it easy, go play with your dogs." And
So
go on.
no, I was going to say. So after this, where does it go to after this?
After this is when they kind of decide to.
Oh, does Norris has a heart attack already, right?
No, well, this is leading up to this. So
Yeah.
they try to come up with another plan, another test, and Fuchs is talking to McCready, and this is kind of like he's like with the blood test and everybody not trusting each other. He's like, I suggest we all prepare our own foods. He's kind of taking more of like the scientific like hey, let's stay safe route.
And I think this
is where he leaves.
This is important information here, I think.
Yep. He's sitting there
when
talking
we get
to
to the
him,
end.
telling him this stuff, and then he's like, "Yeah, you can't." He's like, "We should prepare our own foods." He's like, "We should only eat out of cans. We should only do certain things because of like how susceptible we are to this shit, and everybody being the way they are." He's like, "Can't trust anybody." Kind of like shtick. So McCready leaves the room as he's like still doing his science stuff, and then the power goes out, and then Fuchs lights a candle. Like it's 1700, and he starts walking around the facility because nobody else seems to be reacting that the power's out. Like at least around that area. They talk about it later, but so as soon as he walks to the doorway to like the hall, you see a figure walk by, just
Right.
real quick, shadowy figure walk by. He's like, "Hello," he chases after it, and then you see him. Doesn't he go outside, and that's the last we see of him. We don't see what happens to him.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Correct. Yeah, he finds the R.J. McCready coat or jacket or whatever, shreds.
Okay.
And then the group gets back together. McCready kind of he throws some dialogue like what you talked about. So he says the power went out in the lab for an hour. And anybody could have got to him. I guess nobody checked on him. And also, is the base not like small enough that like no matter what room you're in, couldn't you just yell for somebody and somebody could hear you?
For real.
I wonder
yeah.
that too.
Like if so, Fuchs is like McCready wouldn't have even been out of earshot, and Fuchs is just like, "What the fuck?" As he's got his candle. I'd have been like hollering, been like, "Yo, Mac, come back here and make yourself known, or I assume it's you." You know what I mean? Like,
or just
that's
start
what I
yelling, be
wanted.
like, yeah, something. There's something fucking creepy going on. Something.
Hey, McCready,
like,
is that you turning out the lights? And when you don't get an answer, something's probably up.
yeah.
If you literally if you know someone just walked past you, and like and they didn't answer, why the fuck wouldn't you just back up, fucking lock that door just to play it safe?
100%.
I would have been like, if you're not gonna answer me, I'm gonna assume you're fucking evil.
Grab the
Like,
nearest
and you're
weapon and
gonna
stay the
kill
fuck back. Like, just
Right.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna let this candle burn out.
Yeah, do they not
For the
have
next
walkie-talkies on their base? That'd have made things a lot easier.
I was
For
kind of
real.
wondering that they have everything but radios, except for like
Even like a
the long
PA
range
system?
radio. Yeah.
Even like the PA, like on the wall, press a button and you can like,
Yeah.
hey
dude,
guys,
yeah, nobody uses
fucking
that.
whatever. Like,
Yeah. Nobody uses that either.
no. So then they find Fuchs pretty fast, right? Like right after
Yeah,
the scene, I
Windows,
think they come.
Windows, Null, and McCready go out
They go out.
and
Yeah.
find Fuchs. It
That's
ain't
right.
Fuchs.
It ain't Fuchs.
Oh yeah, Windows is the one that finds him, right? Which is funny because Windows wasn't originally supposed to go with them. He was supposed to go with Palmer, right? And then Palmer and Windows seem to have fucking beef the whole movie.
Yeah.
I ain't
And he's
going
like,
with
"Fuck
Windows.
you, Palmer, whatever.
I ain't going with
fuck."
them.
Yeah,
Go
and
with
so
Child.
McCready's like, shut the fuck up. Windows, you'll come with us, Palmer, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, because they round the corner to go in, and Windows is the one that's like, hey guys, that shit right there. And they see Fuchs' fucked up body, which, and I guess it could be open for interpretation. he burned himself to not be assimilated.
They
Is that?
they
I mean,
surmised that he tortures himself when he gets infected, I guess.
gets infected or about to get infected or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would have had to have seen someone literally infect, like someone not who they are. Presumably Blair.
Well, they go see Blair right before they find it, and that's when they knock on the door. It's like, hey, have you seen
you're right.
Fuchs? And he's sitting there eating a can of beans with like a noose like chilling behind him. Which I
Yeah,
was
he's got, like,
like,
a
are you
hangman's
gonna
noose.
kill yourself? And then he's like, I'm okay. I'm all better now. I want to go back inside.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of weird
Like, that's
stuff
gonna
out
work.
here. A lot of weird stuff. Yeah.
There are funny
Yeah.
things out here.
Funny things out here. It ain't Fuchs.
Yeah, it ain't Fuchs.
Yeah,
Watch Clark.
He repeatedly says to watch Clark, which I guess is just a misdirect on his part.
Yeah, it's like a red herring that he was getting him like, don't trust him. He's with those fucking dogs. And that's when McCready's like, the wheels start turning and he's like, ah, shit, he was with those dogs. And
Do you think Blair's infected at this point?
Yes.
Yeah,
He has
gotta
to
be,
be
gotta
infected.
be.
Okay.
He's got to be because at this point he had to have already be crafting the fucking spaceship underneath him.
That's right.
In that tunnel.
He's taking some extracurricular trips outside of that shack.
Dude, yeah, he's building tunnels and shit, which as an alien, I guess you can do. So they find Noel's like burnt up body, and about this time is when they find out that
They find Fuchs' fucked up body.
well, they find McCready's shack's lights on, and that's when him and Knowles are like, hey, let's go up to my cabin. We got to go like check this out. And he's like, what the fuck for? And he's like, I didn't leave my light on, and the light's on. So they start to head up that way. And the next scene we see, the lights off, the wind's howling, and everybody's kind of looking outside like, where are they at? Where are they going? Haven't seen them. And then Knowles comes in and he's like, I had to cut McCready loose because I found this and is stuffed in his thing. And it's Fuchs' clothes, right? Is it Fuchs' clothes?
No,
that
it's
he
McCready's
stuffed in?
clothes. It's his own
McCready's
clothes.
clothes.
Yeah.
So he finds him stuffed in his furnace, like he was trying to burn it.
But where did
Supposedly trying to
Fuchs?
burn it.
Where did Fuchs find McCready's clothes? Outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Fuchs finds him outside, sees someone, burns himself. So then that someone then takes McCready's clothes, puts him back in his shack, but in his little fireplace for someone to find. Like, how would
Just
he
to implicate him enough?
Okay.
It's kind of a
I'm just
poor.
making sure.
It's a poor breadcrumb trail because only McCready would have had the foresight or whatever to be like, hey, I didn't leave my light on. We should go up there. Because if that never happened, the group doesn't, most
They
of
never
the
would have found it,
remainder
yeah.
doesn't happen. Nobody would have reason to turn on Mac. So it's a weird like breadcrumb that was more like luck rather than like deduction or whatever that they stumble on. Yeah. So yeah,
Knowles cuts the line.
Knowles cuts the line,
loose.
and
Yeah.
Windows is like, "What if we're wrong about him?" And he's like, "Then we're wrong." And like, goes full arbiter on him. Tells him he's
He
wrong.
does.
Mac busts in the storage
one
room,
of the supply rooms, yeah,
supply
something like
rooms or
that, yeah.
something. And I didn't really get what happens to him either. So he finds dynamite, and there's apparently plenty of it, and he's got it like
He's got it
as you-
strapped
like,
around him.
stereotypical movie moment where it's like all blocked together, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. And he's basically like, "Yo, if that was stupid of you, and if you rush me or do anything, I'm taking us all down. Drop your shit, back up."
Yep.
So he's in the room the whole time. Everybody else is out. And then Max starts to progress or whatever, advance. But then he's attacked by people in the room.
Yeah, by
But they're, like-
Norris and Knowles, who were like behind the door.
They're in the room with them. Like, I was like, that doesn't
Yeah,
make
it was
fucking
weird.
sense. So Norris has...
This is when Norris has a heart
This
attack.
is where Norris has a heart attack. I don't understand this part. So
Okay.
did the thing just took over a body that had an ailment? Like, would it not?
It wouldn't have known it had an ailment, though.
It couldn't. I guess.
No.
Couldn't it? I mean,
No.
would it when it replicated him or assimilated him? Would
So-
it not fix that? Like, so if he gets somebody with cancer, and he takes over and assimilates. Does that person then, does the thing, it now have cancer?
Well, so here's the weird thing about assimilating. So it yes and no kind of on multiple levels. So think if you have like a broken leg and you have a steel pin and stuff, it's going to reject the steel pin and give you a good leg because it's not organic. But if you have a bum ticker, it's going to replicate it perfectly because it's making an exact copy. So it will
Yeah.
take on the elements of the biology of whatever it's simulating. So if it has cancer, the dude's probably going to end up being a mutated thing with cancer. Whether the cancer even affects the thing is a whole different fucking story.
Yeah, sure.
But I was assuming it's along those lines. So like, yeah and no, like, so it can, but it just depends on what it's assimilating and what is affected.
Here's a question. Here's a question. Norris has a heart attack. That's why they take his bitch ass to the lab, right? They're like,
Right.
we're gonna,
Yeah, you got to
right?
check him out.
So let's say they didn't take him to the lab. They're like, fuck, Norris is dead. Let's just go
Yeah.
put him in some dead room where we
if
keep
they
dead
didn't try to
people.
resuscitate him or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Now I know they defib, which I think the creature reacts to, and that's how it like whatever, and we're gonna get there. But like, let's say they didn't. Let's say they're like, fuck, he's dead. Would the creature would he have died? Would the human have died? And I only ask this because at no point in the movie the creature is smart enough not to assimilate dead things. Like it knows if Derek fucking died and then all of a sudden we see Derek back up and alive a little while later, we're going to be like, well, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like it's got to be smart enough to know that people,
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, so would it have just waited until someone came and fucked with Norris, or would Norris have just risen from the dead because he's the thing?
I don't think it would have
Like how,
risen, but I think
you
it
know
would
what I
have
mean?
fucked with something if something came towards it.
You think it would have just waited until like,
It was playing
they're
dead
like,
at that
well, I
point.
guess we should go.
I think the heart went out. It was like, I don't know what the fuck that was, and everybody thinks I'm dead, so I might as well just chill here. And it wasn't until it got electrified that it was like, oh, what the fuck? And then that's when
Gotta
the
defend
mouth
itself.
opened up. So I don't think it's
Man.
like reanimates corpses. I think it's just like it assimilates
Right.
and just takes on the trait. So
It's
if a heart
smart
attack
enough not
is
to
if
reanimate.
the heart is enough to take on the stress and then like die as like a human, it would probably do it. But the thing would still keep on ticking, obviously, because
Right.
it eats Doc's hands. But what were you gonna ask, Nick? Or what were you gonna say?
So Norris was just one full day of excitement away from a heart attack, regardless of assimilation. And also,
Well, yeah, okay.
I mean, basically, like,
Well, I mean, he got like roughed up at the end, like kind of like some physical activity.
Oh, he got
like he
roughed
gets thrown back
man,
into the
Yeah,
shell
dude.
my heart
Dude,
would have
he's
been
the
going seeing
geologist
that
got roughed
UFO.
up.
Like,
for sure.
Also, what if Norris didn't have a heart attack? How would things have played out? And two, like, why if the body is dying, why wouldn't the thing like one of its fingers like split off and then go try to like survive that way? And I know we didn't get a lot of that like time because literally as soon as he like falls over, they're like, shit, let's take him into the whatever. But it's like, I wonder what would have happened if Norris had lived and how things would have shaken up. Because this leads right into one of the
Oh,
like
man.
gnarliest parts of this film. Both from like a technical standpoint and a wow factor.
yeah,
Fucking dude.
Copper
Oh man.
gets right to work being a good doctor, even though he's like kind of under some like, is he or isn't he, tension. And he's like,
This is after they morphined Clark, the Copper, and
do they drug them?
no, I think they were going to they were going to perform the test. They were like just about to, but I think it's like right after this is when they morphine him up and they morphine.
it's right after the Fuchs thing. They morphine him up because he's
Yeah.
like, you can't drug me. But they morphine them up for a little bit, and then like I guess the morphine wears off just in time for them to be like, well, fucking Norris is dead. Time to like get in there and do my job. Like
It all happened so fast. He's like, hey, go untie Doc so Doc can, help out Norris. So he does. So like, even if he was, that dude would be so like, ugh, couldn't do chest compressions at all. Couldn't zap anybody, like zap himself by accident, like clear, zap the table. So
Yeah, take us into this scene, dude. This is
So
fucking crazy.
so he, like Nick was saying, he was being a
Dude.
good doctor. He goes up, does the whole clear thing, zaps him once, no response. So naturally he goes in for a second round, not knowing the second round was not going to be awesome. Soon as he goes in for the paddles on the chest opens up like a giant mouth with teeth
Dude.
and clamps
Oof.
down on his arms and rips them off. At the
Fucking
same
bites him.
time, he's wailing around
kills
with
him?
his limbs. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
blood loss.
Dude.
With his limbs flailing around and being attacked, the body starts like morphing and spewing out tentacles, and this weird long neck, snake neck looking Norris head thing comes flying out, attaching itself to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it's really grotesque, looks just hideous. Good, again, great effects, but it's just holy shit. Seeing it, you're like, oh, what the hell is this thing? And that's when they come in with with the flamethrowers. Like Mac yells at them to get it out in there and start torching them, and they do, but not before a piece of it escapes, scuttles away.
This is like, whenever I think of this movie, this is the scene that always like my mind goes to. Right?
Stands out, yeah.
It's like the dog stuff is pretty fucked up, and some of the stuff after this is like wild. But this is the scene where I'm like, man, if you got a weak stomach, this is be the one that we're gonna be like, oh fuck,
A weak stomach.
because not only the thing comes out, so it's like Norris's head is still fucking attached, and it's doing its like and like stretching before it
Yeah.
like falls off and whatever.
Yeah.
But like a literal separate like evil twin Norris head comes out of it.
Of his
Yeah.
stomach,
So
yeah.
like, was it like assimilating him like inside it? It was weird. It's a weird, crazy, fucked up thing. Honestly, I try to wrap my head around it. Kind of hurts. Like, it's a
Yeah.
crazy fucking thing. And they torch the shit out of it, and then like the head fucking like
The head rips
splits off.
Yeah.
And like you're seeing like it stretch and like tear, and like at one point it like tears and like this green liquid like bubbles out of it, and like
Yeah, it's all like
head
weird
fucking,
alien
like-
looking stuff. Yeah.
the great shot of like the head kind of like behind the table, the head falling off the table
Sliding.
and just like plopping to the floor, tentacles to a chair, right? And like Derek just said, they torch this thing, and then like 5 seconds later, they're like, "Put it out," and I'd be like, "Dude, fucking melt that
Let it burn.
motherfucker!"
Yep.
Like,
Let it
Yeah.
burn.
and then to me, like, and as a dude scared of spiders, like seeing that head fucking like grow legs and then fucking stalk eyes, like that to me, I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" Like,
One of the creepier moments, even if it is short lived, is still one of the creepiest moments. Like
The
because
North
you never
Head,
see it.
scuttles across.
This
like-
is one of the only times you actually see it like take on a form and like attempt to get away. Does that make sense? You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know what I
Almost
mean?
got
Like,
away.
This was
Yeah.
like fight or flight. Yeah.
yeah, like it grows fucking legs and stalk eyes and like literally tries to like make a run for it.
Yeah.
And so, we hear Palmer's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then like everyone like sees, and they're like, I think McCready just wastes no time torching it, right?
Yep. Fries it right
So
on.
what we know going forward at this time, like we said, Palmer is infected. So a thing sees another thing scurrying across the way and has to like feign innocence. Like, what? Which also kind of begs the question, why didn't Palmer just like see it, not report it, and that thing could have just got away and like lived to fight another day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It is kind of weird, but maybe he was just like
he outed his own like alien buddy and was like, yeah, at least it's not me though. Look at that head.
I mean, if he saw it and didn't say something, maybe they would have been like, Palmer,
Sure.
and just like,
Motherfucker.
fry his ass up right there. Yeah. But
you're in league with the thing.
it scurries away. They fry it up. It dies, seemingly dies. And then, so they continue on with the test they were going to do. At this point, they have Copper, who has died by the thing killing him. Norris was the thing, so they fried him. And they, I think, have a couple of people still tied up. The original people still kind of like tied up to the chair. And this is where they do probably the second most infamous scene is the like petri dish scene where they grab the petri dishes of like blood and they do like the test. So McCready has a couple of them like tied up, and then he has like guns on them, and he's like, all right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to find out who's the thing.
He's like, I'm going to show you what I already know.
I'm going to show you what I already
human.
know.
I do like that scene. Yeah.
Cuts the blood. Yeah, cuts the blood, lets it go into the thing, and then he hits it with a hot rod and like shows that like it doesn't react. Because to McCready's theory is this thing is a living creature thing that no matter what happens to it, it's always going to try to survive.
It will
So
basically defend itself on a cellular level.
Yep.
But we kind of skidded past it there. Back to Copper meeting his end there in the chest cavity.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys have know if you've read anything about that, and this is kind of what I was talking about from like the marvel of the effects. They had an actor, a double arm amputee actor, take over the role of Copper when the arms, like the rubber arms, get bit off of him, and they put a mask like a Copper like similarity on the actor playing Copper, like the double amputee. And so when it clamps down on the arms and rips them off, they're just rubber arms, and this dude is actually armless, and he's just like the shot is real quick of his face like reacting or whatever. Genius. That's fucking genius, by the way, because anyone who's interested in that kind of thing would be like, how the fuck did you pull that off?
Yeah.
For sure.
Most definitely.
Norris, when we talk about the thing entirely, Norris in particular, when the head is like splitting and ripping and all that shit coming out. Rob Bottin, who we mentioned earlier, also played Blake in The Fog, by the way.
Which is crazy.
So Blake from The Fog is now playing the special makeup guy, and Rob Bottin actually campaigned to play Palmer. He wanted to play Palmer, but the studio was cool. He was basically so busy with the effects work. They were like, yeah, no. So they casted a comedian, I think is what he is. But the effects of the thing and its slime and stuff, some of it is, so maybe a majority of it is something called carbapol, which is a powdery substance used in hair gels and mixed with water, and that's the thing slime. So I guess anytime it's like oozing and sliming, it's this shit. But it is, like Derek said, a combination of like mechanical and like food bits and some different shit that makes up. I think it's like melted, like heated up gum. It's like
bubble gum. Yeah, it's bubble gum.
Like stretch out and stuff like that. Melted plastic.
I can't remember exactly what all it is, but the teacher in Stranger Things mentions what it is to like his date that he has in the show or whatever. He's like telling her outright what it is. But the head ripping off, man, like great effects. Even with like little bit that it was great. So definitely a stellar job. Rob Bottin for the win, man.
For sure.
I took you out of your analysis there, Derek. But yeah, basically McCready at this point surmises that this thing will defend itself on a cellular level. We're going to do some tests, and he starts running through that, showing him the things that he already knows that he's not one.
Because he tests Windows first, which ends up being a big mistake because you don't fucking do nothing and gets killed. But whatever.
Well, that was more of a mechanical issue than him. I think he was pulling the trigger on the fucking thing. It just wasn't going.
Oh.
It's also a dumbass issue.
I thought Windows just froze. Like he just waited too long.
But no, I think he was pulling the thing and it just wasn't going.
Yeah,
and then,
maybe.
It's when it drops in his fucking face.
No, actually,
like,
you're right. No, McCready's the one that's pulling. McCready's is the one that isn't going, and he has to use Windows later. Yeah, Windows is the idiot. Yeah, you're right. Windows, fucking idiot.
He does Windows because then I think he
does.
I think after that he's like, "I'll show you what I already know," and then like does his blood, and then is it who's he do next?
He does Windows, and then I think he does nulls. And then he has those two get up. And then it's about the time he's getting ready to, I think he's about getting ready to do somebody else. That's when Clark steps up and he kind of like, well, he wasted Norris really quick, didn't he? Like he gets a scalpel and starts to make a move towards McCready. And that's when McCready's like, I will kill you. and
Shoots him dead.
shoots him dead. So then when it
Turns
comes,
out he was a human.
which yeah, he does the test on him like right after, and that's when he finds out that he's
him and Copper.
he was human. Yeah, they did it on Copper. He was human, and he did it on Clark, and that like Child's like, oh, he's like, so that makes you a murderer, huh? Like since you just killed him in cold blood, and so like I mean, at that point, I'm like, is it really cold blood if the dude was coming after me with a knife and I can't trust none of you fuckers. Like,
yeah, Gary and Childs both are like, this test is bullshit. And he's like, yeah, I thought you'd say that, Gary. We're going to do you last. And so then he goes to stick Palmer's blood. And that's when we enter like phase 3 of like the holy fuckery.
Yep.
He
springs out like a hand.
Real quick, I will say, upon a rewatch, when he says like Palmer next, like whatever, you definitely see Palmer like he's just kind of like he gives this look.
He's just
where I was like, okay, you gave it away. Yeah, he's just like, oh, you're about to find out. Fuck, like he knows like his time's coming. Like,
yeah,
I'm surprised he didn't just fucking like beat him to it and just like like go out like get the jump on him. But on a rewatch, I was definitely like, oh yeah, he definitely gives it away. Like, for those of us that know what's coming, it's a giveaway because immediately, Petri dish, fucking like the whatever fucking springs out of that thing.
It's like
because this is one of the only times,
and it's like
you
it
see the blood
hand. Yeah,
like you were talking about blood and shit earlier. Like the blood literally starts like moving towards.
Yeah,
well, but like you don't really.
Where does the blood go? And also, where does the specimen in the Petri dish go? Both get never like called back to again, but we don't see them like T-1000 and like jump back on
Foreman or anything.
You know?
I think I just took it to like it's probably still scurrying around and it just got torched. Just got torched by
I just assumed it was like
a loose end. We got to tie that up, loose end.
It is a little weird to see blood just scurrying across the floor like a creature, but
Palmer,
because Palmer's just like
Palmer takes center stage with his transformation, and it is nuts.
It's horrific.
So Windows stalls before he can, freezes up before he can like torch him, and Palmer, it's like Vicky in the Blob, but like times fucking 10.
Dude,
it starts like malforming and also kind of like expanding,
like melting,
but also like siphoning its fucking skin in, and then it splits like open, and this actually leads to the worst effect in the movie.
Oh,
it
absolutely.
loops or like snatches Windows by his head and like picks him up, and it's like the worst ragdoll.
It's like it's trying to eat him, and it's just
it's trying to like eat him and shaking around. He's knocking lights out and shit. You still hear him screaming, by the way, which is like you're screaming in somebody's mouth.
Yeah.
He's like halfway down Palmer's throat, and you can hear him screaming.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty wild.
It's almost like a cartoon at that point. So he's like kicking the shit out of everybody with Windows' body, spits him out. And then that's when Mac finally gets the torch going, ices Palmer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fries him up. His head's still clapping, tongue Palmer all over the place.
Palmer runs outside. He runs through the wall.
He breaks through the wall, and then McCready throws a stick of dynamite on him and explodes him. Blows him up, blows him to bits. Which I still wouldn't guarantee it. I'd still drop another gallon or so of gas and light it on fire.
I kind of wondered. I was like, would there be enough of, I don't know, would pieces somehow try to survive that? I mean,
if every living cell is a living thing and it can like simulate you with like ease, I'm blowing up the whole site. Like it's just the way it is.
For real.
But he throws the thing in there, and then
he kills Windows.
That's when Windows starts to turn. You see Windows starting to like kind of like turn in the corner and start to morph and stuff. Yeah.
Sounds all gross.
And they're all like, McCready is in here, get it, McCready. And so he runs in there, torches that, and then they immediately go right back to the test. And so then it's Knowles and him, and then they get Childs out. And it's like right after Childs is cleared, he's like, cut me loose, God damn it, cut me loose.
You're right.
He gets out. And then it's Knowles and Childs and McCready all looking at Gary, being like, "Motherfucker, you better be straight." And so they test his blood, and he's human. So again, like they had the wrong assumption about him too, like thinking he was, possibly a thing. Nope, dude's square as it can be. And then he has that epic line of like, "Look, I know you gentlemen have been through a lot, but
I love this.
I would like," he's like, "I would not like to spend the rest of my fucking time or winters tied to this fucking couch."
Epic
Just
line.
yells
Yeah.
it right at him. And so they're like, "All right, cool." They're like, "All right, cut him loose." And this is kind of where it starts to come to an end. They kind of rally together and they kind of like, okay, so what are we going to do now? Because obviously all four of us are human. What's the next step? And then I think McCready pretty much is just like, we got to destroy this place. Like we have to.
Well,
They have
no,
to go find Blair first, right?
they got to give Blair the test. And so they're like, child, stand guards. If Blair comes back without us, fucking torch him. So they go out there.
Yep.
Blair's not there. And this is maybe where we start to get like the muddled, like at the, like towards the end, like Childs, McCready, who's what kind of thing or whatever. Because they go out there, they find out Blair's been busy digging fucking tunnels and shit. Like,
This
and while
I never liked that aspect of this. If we're here now, so
Same.
Blair with limited anything, like digs out a hole in the tool shed, a very big fucking hole, by the way, done by pure, raw, unfiltered alien manpower, digs this thing out, and then he starts like, they come upon a small UFO. So he's been building a ship to get out of there.
Craft, yeah.
And I have a real problem with this because it's like, hey man, it doesn't matter how many tractors and snowplows and helicopters you took apart. You're not building something that can break the fucking atmosphere. Like they make it sound like he just like hodgepodges some like parts together like a fucking science experiment and is building a UFO. Now we don't know if it works, but we can surmise he's probably not building a fucking phony. Like, the alien probably has some knowledge, but I hate this scene because I don't believe that Blair dug out this whole cavern and shit like in a night or two. I don't believe that he built this thing out of spare parts and hot glue and shit. Like the scene always irritated the shit out of me.
So the logistics of it, like it being under the shed and underground, and him just tunneling like his own like Viet Cong style like tunneling system, which is insane. I don't like that idea either because it's like, when the hell did you have time to do this? Who gave you a shovel, and how did this happen without anybody noticing you weren't like in your shed the whole time? So I do have issue with that. I don't have issue with the craft so much because I don't think, and I think they may have even said it in the movie, but he's not trying to leave Earth. He's just trying to leave Antarctica. He's just trying to get the fuck off, at least closer to civilization. So I don't think it's meant to get him far, just far enough. But again, I don't know what all you can do with your alien ingenuity with Earth shit. Like we don't have, gravity propulsion. We don't have any kind of like,
there's no like, you're not going to build a thruster or like,
right.
Any
we don't
sort
have no
of
fusion. We have no way to power our crafts that way. So we have nothing to offer him that would get him what he would need to do any of the shit he would do. Like,
dude, he had like a whole like workbench down there. Like it wasn't,
yeah.
It didn't just have like a saucer. Like he had like a workbench, and like it looked like there was a few other things. And then so this tunnel went like multiple places under the camp, right? Because does this tunnel lead to the generator room as well or whatever when they come across?
It had to at least have an exit because Blair went out it. His front door was locked. So it had an exit.
Because he was out and about tearing shit up. He couldn't have gotten out through the door of the tool shed and back in if it locked from the outside.
Right.
But anyways, what, McCready and them are doing something in the shed, and Knowles sees presumably
Childs take off. Yeah.
Leave his post, and he goes out. And then so we don't see Childs again until he shows up at the end.
Correct.
After this point here.
Yep.
So then the Knowles, with all the dynamite and kerosene apparently they all fucking have in this place, like they go down into... Do they go down into the hole? And like, is that where they're at? Where they start having like the rope and the dynamite and the
underneath? Yeah. So the tunnel system that he created, the little hodgepodge like storage spots, I think, for the compound itself, like they're going down and they're laying out dynamite and stuff. There's only 3 of
This is
them.
where they were stupid too.
And instead of sticking together, which is what I would have done, I'm like, all right, we're going to this place. We're going to go to this place. We're going to mob them all up. He's like, all right, you go take care of that place. Knowles, you go over there. I'm going to do over
If
here.
not, why would you not try to keep in eyesight?
Yeah.
If you need to
Yeah.
spread out, sure. But fucking send one that way, and be like,
Yep.
we communicate constantly. If you cannot see each other, something's wrong. Or like 2 of you go down there, take care of it that way. Then you go down this way or whatever the fuck. They were really stupid at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Poor plan.
because even though it's something small, when Blair gets
He
the
gets
captain,
Gary. He gets Gary first.
Gary first. Yep.
Gary, when he gets Gary first, like that, like hand over the mouth and like the skin,
Going
like
through underneath the skin,
fucking
like
stretching and like
everything
because when he like you see him dragging him, like that fucking skin face is like stretched out and he's
And
like dragging his ass.
it like covered his face entirely. Like it isn't just like
Right.
at his mouth at that point. It's like his whole head.
So you're to assume there's like he's assimilating him as well, and
he's
then
assimilating Gary.
Knowles gets killed off screen, and then like it's like under the compound, and like fucking Bugs Bunny's like the
comes
floor,
in like a
coming to-
graboid chasing him, just like throwing like wood and debris, snow. Real quick, the Knowles thing really irritated me. Like I know we don't have to see it, but it happens so fucking quick. You see Knowles do like this weird expression where he's like looking one way and he's like, huh? And then he like goes that direction and dead. That's it. He's done. Because then McCready's like, hey, how's the Chargers coming along? Looks and they're all gone. He's like,
He's like-
fuck. So then he hops up and that's when he's like, shit. So like Knowles instantly dead. Like just rounds the corner, instantly has like, skull pop up on the mini map. He's done. Dunzos. So immediately, like you said, we have like the Bugs Bunny thing coming around. Like the tentacle busts up out of the ground, grabs the detonator for the dynamite, pulls it in, and then a giant behemoth of a creature known as the Blair thing pops up, and it's a mutation of like him, the alien creature, a dog that pops out of the chest at some point, and tentacles. Like it's just this amalgamation of kind of everything it's come in contact with, and it's just as grotesque as everything before it. And he kind of has a battle with it. It's like throwing shit at him. He's dodging tentacles. He's kind of doing his thing.
It's super fast.
Yeah, and he has a stick of dynamite already lit, and then he gets a chance to like roll over to it, action roll to it, snatches it up, and just like throws his one liner like, yeah, well, fuck you too, and fucking throws it at it, and then thing blows up, boom. Destroys the monster, supposedly, and the entire base. The whole base goes up. It's nothing but flames and heat and explosions. It looks like a Michael Bay extravaganza.
Yeah, right.
And then McCready kind of like gets himself out of the debris and he's kind of making himself over to a burned up part of the compound. And he kind of lays himself up in it, sits there. And about that time, Childs shows up. And they both kind of have a sit down and they're both kind of facing each other. And Childs goes on to explain that he saw Blair take off. So he went after him to go get him, but then got lost in the storm. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it's convincing. Believe what you want to believe. And then he ends up sharing a drink with McCready. And as they're drinking, he pretty much just like, how do you know I'm not the thing? And McCready's just like, even if you are, it doesn't matter. Like, we're going to die.
We'll just sit here and wait a while, see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll
just see
we're
what
in no
happens.
shape. If either of us has a secret, we're in no shape to do anything about it or whatever he says. Yeah. And then that there's like, we'll just wait here a while and see what happens or like whatever the fuck.
Yeah. And that's how it ends.
So do you think Childs is a thing?
Honestly,
and I don't buy the whole like you couldn't see his breath or like whatever. I think lighting and stuff played an issue with that because I do think at the end you do see a little bit of Childs' breath.
Yeah, you see a little bit of it. Well, I heard
but
the drink was gasoline and like he was drinking it and like the thing wouldn't.
He was
react
throwing
to it.
Molotovs out, dude.
So it kind of makes me wonder. Like, there's a lot of like things out there to kind of like hint to it, but I don't know. Personally, I just because I like Childs, I just want to be like, nah,
Same.
he's not.
I
I
agree.
think him and McCready are the same. I think they're okay.
I think it's a the happy ending, right? Like they're both just human. That's my belief.
Yeah.
What about so like, and I know so Fuchs tells McCready, he's like, hey, one single cell can like fucking take us all over or whatever.
Oh yeah.
We need to not share shit and like make our own food and whatever. So, and I know McCready was the only one in the room when he said this. Now, whether or not he told other people, we definitely don't find out. But McCready offers him a drink and Childs takes it. Now, whether or not Childs has a thing would know if it's gasoline or like whatever the fuck. Just the fact that he took it, maybe, you know, I don't know if that like gives a hint or anything. I know there's that theory about like the glint in like their eyes or like whatever. I think that only applies like one scene, maybe is what someone said, but then I think John
The
Carpenter was like,
glint.
that's bullshit.
They're android.
I don't know. Like,
Oh, you
I don't know that it matters per se, which whether Child is or whether they're both humans. I think the ending is great. Um,
Even if it
you
is bleak,
you know,
it's
and,
still a good ending.
you
Like,
yeah,
you mentioned something that I meant to talk about earlier. So if that's true, and like if it were to touch you in any way, shape, or form, basically it could like assimilate you, then why, when Copper gets his arms chewed off, wouldn't there be like remnants on his like arm stubs, and then it would like
I thought this
assimilate
too.
him? So that was the
yeah.
one part of that. So it felt like some of the things that are said aren't to be taken as like law, but rather like suggestions and theories from those characters in that world, right? Like almost like a talking out loud. And when that we shouldn't take, as the audience, shouldn't take everything that they say as like as law. Does that make sense? Like,
I wondered that
Yeah.
too about Copper.
because Blair gets his arms chewed off by that thing, which means like there'd be multiple points of like contact, but it doesn't assimilate him. And maybe it was like trying to do too much at once, but it feels
Well,
like a cop out.
people fucking get limbs and shit cut off and live like all the time.
Yeah, he
Like
loses his arms and
he,
dies.
he loses his arms and like the next time we see him, he's a fucking slab on the table. Like no
Right.
blood everywhere. They weren't like he died from bleeding out or like
I
whatever. He gets
mean,
his arms cut off or like bit off and that's it. Like not saying it wouldn't suck, not saying it wouldn't hurt, not saying it wouldn't kill anyone, but this shit happens all the fucking time. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was kind of like he just died from that? Like that's wild. Like weird.
it just really
Also,
depends. Like, so I think,
if we're
go on.
go on, Derek. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, the laws of like the thing, and kind of like what Nick was saying with like, these guys are scientists, but they're not like true scientists. Like they're not gonna have all the proper equipment to do. They're just doing the
Some of
best they
them are
can with.
meteorologists and geologists, so what the fuck do they know
Y- y-
about humans?
Yeah, like besides Blair and Copper, I don't think any of the rest of them have a fucking medical degree. So they're just kind of going off the basis of what information they got. So this thing could be doing shit like you said, like the alcohol, like passing them the alcohol. Like, what if the alcohol kills the alien, like alien cells or whatever? Like, what if, like, because alcohol is able to kill certain things in our 4-dimensional space or whatever the fuck. But so, like, would that affect the alien, or the alien be like, oh, that shit don't bother me at all? Fire affects it, and that's about all we know. But it is kind of hard to kind of gauge, like would Copper have like become like assimilated, or like would any little bit would do it? It's just no different than like the dog like assimilating somebody and then like still being a dog and still being something else. It's kind of
Well,
where's the
even
disconnect of like what it can do.
if it's like down to a cellular level. So like I asked earlier, I was like, when the dog first comes into camp and it runs up on someone and starts breathing on him or licking him or like whatever, it's Benning. Is that what his name? Bennett, whatever.
Bennings.
Yeah. Uh, he doesn't get turned until the thing actually like attacks him and like whatever. Like if
Yeah.
that dog was like and if Clark was like really alone with that dog, why didn't the dog just take him in
Right.
that hour and a half he had? Like I don't like I was like, why spare Clark? Because Clark ended up being
Yeah.
human. If Clark ended up being a thing, okay, we maybe Blair was right. It kind of got him and whatever, but he wasn't. It's like that dog wasted 5 seconds in the kennel with the other dogs before it tried making its move. You had an hour and a half alone with Clark, and you didn't try to take him.
Yeah, I wonder how
Also,
much of the alien's actually sentient, like how much of it's actually smart and intelligent.
right. Also the child's thing. We talked about the prequel. The prequel comes up with this like guideline rule thing about like metal in the body. Derek, you were talking about it, like splints and like metal plates and shit. They
Yeah.
talk about the metal fillings and stuff. Child still has his earring at the end when he's talking to McCready.
Can you actually see
So
it
that
though?
I mean,
I was gonna say I couldn't even see it,
um,
but I knew he had it. I knew he had some kind of piercing.
I guess I didn't see it watching it. When I was doing my research for this movie, people had talked about like at the end he still has his earring. Maybe they see the glint off it or something. I don't know.
I would say the lighting
Um,
in there is kind of bad. It's kind of hard to see with the
but
shadows, but
but either way, I don't think it bothers it. Like they haven't tried to make a sequel and like try to make a definite ending, and I think they're really smart for that.
I think so. They've
Sounds like
made
they want to make a
sequels.
sequel though.
Yeah, sounds like
No,
one maybe on the pipeline at some
yeah.
point because I think Blumhouse is supposed to be touching it. Um, for what I'm to understand, they've had sequels in the video game and in comics, and I think in both, Childs does not make it out. Childs is not the thing, but Childs does not survive.
He freezes to
Uh,
death, right?
I think he freezes to death, but McCready makes it out. McCready comes out on top and
Right.
is not infected.
Which
Um,
kind of checks because Childs was literally fucking running around since he left that post when Null saw him, when he thought he
yeah,
saw Blair. Childs literally been running around in the cold, got lost in the storm, while McCready was at least around like some heat and like some stuff or like whatever.
but I don't
So I
know.
mean,
I don't know
Childs
how much
freezing to death
longer
first.
he would have survived over Childs, in the
True,
long run.
true.
But I don't know, man. As for the non-answers we got, I was satisfied with the movie. I loved
Yeah,
what we,
same.
got and the way it ran. So coming to an end here, what do you guys want to rate it? Nick, what do you think this movie deserves?
Uh, I, I like this. I like this movie a lot. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. It's not perfect. There's certainly a lot of questions to ask about it. When I think about John Carpenter's resume, it it's probably number 2 on my list for him. And I
Ooh.
think you both know Halloween to me is a 10 out of 10. That's a
Yeah.
magnum opus. Like that to me is his magnum opus. But the thing, 4.5 stars, falls just short of a perfect score for me. And I could probably be talked into one if somebody were to sit down and like brass tacks it, like here's why it should be 10 out of 10, Chris. I know. It's 4.5 stars. This movie is awesome. Don't let all the questions that we have upon viewing it 20 plus times get in the way. If somebody is looking for a badass science fiction horror movie, this is the first movie that I'm going to point them to. It had his whole recipe. Dean Cundy is back as the principal of photography. Adrienne Barbeau is uncredited as the voice of the computer, that cheating bitch chess wizard. Uh,
That's awesome. I
Dick
didn't know that.
Dick Warlock is uncredited as the Shadow. Bill
It's got
Lancaster,
Kurt Russell.
Bill Lancaster and John Carpenter and Dick Warlock also all play Norwegians in like the group photo.
Nice.
Oh,
So
awesome.
there's a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes. John Carpenter is clearly in his prime as he's not at his this super hot streak through the early '80s of just knocking out these badass movies. And that would continue on to the late '80s as well, I think. But yeah, this movie's awesome, man. Chris, what did you think, dude?
I'm also going to say 4.5 stars. This is pretty fucking righteous film. The ambiguity of it all is fun to talk about. It's never hindered the movie from me. Like, I think there are people that watch this and they're like, well, if there was more concrete answers, I would like it more. Fuck those guys. They obviously don't know what they're talking about. The ambiguity is fine. Like, it's done on purpose. He's never been in an interview where he's like, well, I meant to do this and I was trying to whatever. No, he's like, it's done like that for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's really great. Like you said, great sci-fi great horror. Um, I cannot just fathom that it just performed as poorly as it did when it came out. This is a great film. I won't give it 5. I think one of my only issues with this is the climax with like the Blair thing and like whatever is very short. Um, I would have liked to maybe see a little extended sequence with like the monster at the end. But this is 4.5 easily, and yeah, I don't know. Derek, what about you?
Nice. I'm gonna go with 5 stars. I'm gonna go just a little bit above both of you there and just hit the cap because
Just hit
I
it,
love
dude.
this movie. It is my favorite John Carpenter movie. If anybody asks what John Carpenter movie they need to watch first, is usually the first one I throw at them.
Same.
Like I said, I watch this multiple times a year, winter, Christmas. It's always awesome. It's almost one of the best cosmic horror movies I've ever seen. I would say, put it over Alien. Like, an Alien is monumental on its own.
Yeah.
And I'd say I'd put it over Alien in enjoyment. Like, Alien's good, but I don't know, man. The thing, it's just brought it home for me. It was good. Carpenter did everything he was supposed to, you know, but
I will agree with you that this is I think better than Alien.
most definitely. So I love it, man.
Alien's great. This is better
Yeah. He definitely has a lot of good stuff, you know, but this one takes the cake.
for sure.
But if you guys are liking what we're doing, make sure to share, like, subscribe. Check us out on Amazon, YouTube, Spotify. We're all there. Here in the next month or so, we should have another Carpenter Hour coming up. We should be talking about They Live, which is
Yeah.
another personal
Yeah.
favorite of mine. And can't wait to jump into that and talk about it. So hopefully we could see you guys on the next one and hope you enjoy.